Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding, learning, and turning the great strategy games today back into our PBEM. Did I say too many letters? PBEM, yes, Bonsai Challenge. Now, I have to apologize. You may see the date up there, August 30th, 1942, getting deep into 1942 and starting to think offensive. You may say, well, what happened to August 16th? And that's a great question. And there was an August 16th in 1942, and I actually played out the turn and recorded the turn. I sent it back to Bonsai, and then when I I should have looked at the video first, there was a little bit of a sound issue, and unfortunately, it just didn't record well enough to put it up on the channel. So you have missed a turn. Now, what did you miss? A lot of the same. Still probing about, looking for places to land, thinking about getting offensive, holding on in Australia, but we'll go all around the map and we'll check it out. This time I'll go a little more in depth than maybe I usually do just because we did miss last turn. I want to make sure and get you up to date where we stand right now. Now, on the August 30th turn, the turn report, UK transport 10 added, that helps. US transport plus 10 added. Okay. Landing ships plus 10 for the US, always helps. Fei Kui Shang of the 4th and 5th War Area headquarters increased his mobility experience to a 3. Okay. Um, these were the armies out in China that were isolated. One has now surrendered. There was just no place to take them, unfortunately. Once we tried to take, well, we did take Canton, but once we got kicked out of Canton so rudely, there was really no place to go. They were isolated. We do have that Marine garrison down in Australia that we landed behind the lines to try to cause some havoc. We did get him to pull back because of that, but they're isolated and probably not long for this world. We have a fleet with low supplies. Okay. He's back into the convoy lanes, and as you can see, we lost 8 more merchant marines. The Brits, the greatest shipping merchant fleet of all time, has now been reduced to 0. There are no British merchant marines left, as hard as that is to believe. The U.S. still has in the 20s somewhere, but he's really wreaked havoc with that, as of course we did pull back. Um, there's been all kinds of talk about, how conservative or how aggressive to be. I've just found playing the game, this is how I like to play. I do stay very conservative early. I would probably say that about most games that I play. I generally feel like you let the other person make mistakes, and 95% of the time you're going to win. That being said, when you play a really, really good player like this, things can look bad. We're in okay shape. We've certainly been in much better shape in late August of 42, but we're okay. We're okay. I mean, we still definitely got a chance to win the game. The only major ship we've lost is the Prince of Wales. Eventually, we will have more naval assets and more air assets than the Japanese do, but we will start going on the offensive here in the, near the end of 42. We're now about 8 months into the war, let's call it 9 months into the war. We've got about 3 years to go, so there's plenty of time to do stuff. All right, so that's the turn report. Let's get off that and let's go to some place that looks a little prettier than just the top of the map. Oh shoot, I didn't maximize my screen. I have to do this with the arrows now. Hovering over Pearl Harbor, and you may say, well, whoa, the carriers, what did we end up doing with them? Well, they've come back through the whirligig, and we'll get into that. But let's go to the combat log. For last time, we had partisan activities because we always do. Even down in New Zealand, we had some partisan activities. Land combat. Now, he's pushed into and around Lan Chao now. We do have a way to counter that I'll show you here momentarily, but he has pushed into this area now. as he tries to take Lan Chao. Now, you may say, well, why is he doing that? Well, there's the obvious that it's a national supply source, okay, and it's one of the only ones we'll have left if he takes Chungking. You can see he's now pushed to the border of the river here, and he is right on Chungking with pretty strong forces. We'll also get to that in a minute, but back up to Lan Chao. Once you lose Chungking and Chengtu, the play is then to retreat up to Lan Chao. That's what happened in our last game. And this time he's decided to try to cut that off by getting up here. Now, the Japanese have a hard time getting really good logistics up here. Now, you can see he's on a rail line now, but until he takes Lan Chao, he's going to have a hard time supplying things up in the mountains. And you can really hold out here for a very long time if it's played correctly. So he's trying to, you know, I guess, put that fire out before it even starts. But we'll get to that. But anyway, the land combat down here, he took one on the land. We took two in damage, and he pushed us out of here. You can see, I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was this one actually, and he's been pushed out of here now. Ground strike, and this is how Bonsai goes about it. He hits on with the air first, and so he's hit that. First Air Brigade did take one. The Flying Tigers got up in the air, of course, and tried to fight that off. We're going to move the Flying Tigers back to Chengdu because they are so important to keep you alive out here in China. It's only one air unit. I get that, but he can just bomb you unmercifully if you don't at least have them up, bloody in the nose a little bit. He also hit that unit yet again with the ground strike, and yet again with the ground strike, and yet again with the ground strike, and yet again with the ground strike. He bombed this unit 5 times. Its effectiveness is going to be obviously very hurt by that. Then he went to the ground strikes. Oh no, he bombed it again. I guess that's 6 times. Then he went to the ground or the land. I should call it land combat since the air is called a ground strike. Land combat. He hit. He took one. We took three and held. He took two. We took one. He took one. We took two. He took zero. We took three. I mean, we held on here for a long time. 1 and 1, and then he hit down here by Kwayang. And so this unit absorbed 5 bombing campaigns and 5 land combats and is still living to tell about it. Well done, Chinese troops out here. Completely outgunned, as you can see, they're completely surrounded, but we really took down his effectiveness in a lot of places. He's attacking across rivers, which of course work to our benefit. But yeah, I mean, he really, really came after that unit, but couldn't get rid of it. Down here, he did. He knocks us back. We had to retreat. Okay, what's happening in the current turn? We've got partisan activities kind of all over, here, there, everywhere, and then the convoy attacks. And, he finally, and this is the one, Merchant Marine sunk 8. He finally got back on this line, and we can see exactly what he's got in this task force. So it does at least give us visibility into what was in this task force. It's a carrier escort group. He's got a light carrier squad. He's got 4 carriers. He's got a battle cruiser, a cruiser, and a light cruiser destroyer squadron. So a really strong force. That's why I went back through the whirligig. I don't think we're ready. Now, I know people are going to say, my gosh, man, go at it. Now, I would say, 4 regular carriers, a light carrier, and a carrier escort. We had 6 carriers. It's possible we could have tussled with him there and done okay. But the problem, of course, is we don't know where his other major fleet of carriers are. If they're out here, we're walking straight into a trap. Now, they might not be. They may be up by India. We don't know where they are, and that's kind of the point. But if you go over here, you attack. Okay, let's just say we fight them to a standstill, which is we're probably about equal strength, with that task force. Let's say we fight them to a standstill. Well, okay, that's great. We lose 2 carriers. Let's say he loses 2 carriers. Then he brings his other carriers down and destroys all the rest of our carriers. it's game over. I mean, at that point, you may as well resign. You're just never going to get enough points because you would have to wait a whole nother, you know, till the middle of 1943 before you're even close to being able to challenge his carriers again. So I decided to back off. I know not everybody agrees with that, but that's fine. That's, hey, if I knew exactly how to play the game perfectly, there would be no reason for you to play it. If I played it exactly like you want me to play it, there would be no reason for you to play it as well. So anyway, the subs are over here now. We've got our American subs. We could go through the other convoy attacks, but they don't really matter. Um, and the subs are going to go back through to the West Coast as well. Yes, for this time. So we're going to put them through there. All right, and we'll get back to some of these other moves. Let's go through our warnings. We do have a warning out here that we've got low oil for the Brits again, which is giving us low oil for the Australians. Unfortunately, we need 3 to move this anywhere. He's probably going to get overrun. I was expecting that to eventually happen. We had to get him out of the way to get the 2 U.S. bomber groups in here where we needed them. So, it is what it is. That unit has gotten really ravaged. Let's take this unit and put it back in Pearl Harbor and start to think about our next potential move. We got 39 ships there. Um, yeah, I mean, we could come through the Royal Gig or get right next to him and have a bunch of battleships go after him as well. It doesn't have to be carriers. We could certainly try something like that. I mean, we've got a lot of battleships. Let's see how many we've got now that they're all repaired. We've got one, two, three, four, five, six. Now these battle cruiser battleship, these are British. I probably wouldn't take them out just because we don't have much oil. Seven, but let's say it's four. Let's just count the American ones. Five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12, 13 battleships. So we've got 13 battleships where we could go and try to do some business against him. Now, if we tried to go get right next to him for surface combat, he's probably going to sink 4 to 6 of those right off the bat. So, just something to keep in mind. At some point, we are going to go after that, but I'm going to wait a little closer to us getting our carriers, our new carriers, okay? Um, that's just my plan. You don't have to play that way, certainly. Unit has no supply source. Okay, we already knew about these guys. They've melted away, and then we've got some partisan activity. Okay, and you'll also notice I have put U.S. forces through the whirligig towards India, and we've got U.S. forces here. We've got a lot of British forces down here. I'll show you what we're going to do with that soon. Um, Okay, so that was combat. Let's go to deployment and see what we have this time. The Brits did get that transport group, and if we look now, the Brits have 50 in transports. That's great. The U.S. has 120. Again, I think I said at the start of the game, 120 for the U.S., 60 for the Brits is the minimum I like to have. Ideally, well, I think 60 for the Brits is pretty good. Now we're at 50. We don't have any more scheduled to be built, so I think we're just going to have to roll with that. With the US 120, I mean, now you're talking about 4 large cores that you can put anywhere on the map. And so that's probably pretty good. We could potentially build 20 more and get up to 140. In a game where I'm winning overwhelmingly, usually I'll do like 140 because then you can really bring even more. But yeah, 120 is fine. 120 is fine. 120, that way you can bring 4 large cores. If you got 140 or 150, that means you can move 2 or 3 other divisions behind the scenes and get them into place. That always is nice as well. US has nothing to deploy this time either. That doesn't happen often. It gets landing ships next time. It also will get another battleship, the Washington. We have an infantry corps small coming in, not this turn or not next turn, but the turn after. Another sub. We keep building landing ships. We've got a lot more battleships. And then, as I say, I always say this, December 31st, 42, you get the Essex. Okay, you're essentially a year into the war and you've got 2.5 years left as you start getting all of this stuff. All right, let's go to the rest. We can put down a Soviet unit. How exciting is that? Not very, actually. We'll just put him right there. We'll threaten that we're going to come into Korea. That's not going to happen. No units for China, nothing for Australia. The Canadians get one in a couple of turns, and Communist China has one, and I'm going to show you that's how we're going to protect Lan Chao. We're just going to put it right in Lan Chao. We'll back up the headquarters, put that nice big Red Guard army right on top of Lan Chao. That should make it, I'm not going to say impossible for him to take Lan Chao, but that will certainly make it much more difficult for him to do so. So we'll get back to putting that. As he says that, he rethinks that. Let's just make sure we just, you can't afford to forget to put that down. I think earlier in the game, there was an Australian unit I didn't put down on the exact turn it showed up. I did it one turn later. When you're living on the knife's edge, you just can't afford to forget. There we go. So the Red Guard army goes in here. That's a really powerful force to put down. 30 of 30. Now he's only an assault 1939, but he's got full strength points. We're going to put him on hold. We're also going to move this unit back there into the mountains. If we look at the logistical situation, we've got good logistics, certainly better than he's got up here, probably for all of these forces, anything off this rail line. Now, this force is probably fairly strong, but this all looks pretty good. We could also take this unit and move it back around here so he doesn't try to get around the side of us here. Um, yeah, I mean, he's not completely dug in. We can bring him back here. This unit's pretty dang weak, and I'm afraid he's going to blow us there. I just moved him down there. Yeah, he couldn't have gotten over here anyway, so no harm, no foul. I think what we'll do is come around here, or maybe even try to put the command down in there because he's not in good shape. Now he's only going to get attacked by a two here. Now that could, get better, but I think we're going to be okay to move him back there for now, and hopefully maybe even come over here, or this will rebuild. As a matter of fact, let's just put that on priority and try to get that rebuilt. Over here we've got 15 of 20, but he's doubly dug in. And he's a mountain group, right? I mean, he's in the hills, so he gets an advantage for that. He's a 1.3 on the defense, so that's pretty good. This is 1.7. That's 2.5. I like that a lot, and it's in a good supply position. Okay, so that's deployment. Let's go to the reports. Forces, I like to show you this every time. As you can see, the U.S., continuing to build 323 now. We're adding 20, 10, 20, 30 every turn pretty much. Up to 60 in the air, that's not enough. We have got to build more and more and more air units. Naval, you can see now 114, 162. You don't even have to build anything navally, and eventually you're going to outpace him or have him pass parity on the naval. Merchant Marines, as you can see, the Brits now have none. The U.S. has 20. Ouch. Ouch, that hurts. Casualties, all right. Japanese up to 186, 45, and 32. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, we've lost a lot of Chinese points, obviously. Headquarters, sunk ships, we're still at the Prince of Wales. Messages, no! He didn't want to, Bonsai didn't want to talk any smack at us. 42, we do have a comment that can be built, and let's do that. US also has a comment that can be built, so let's do that. You can see 69, 70, a long ways to go. And we got a long time to do it, but you got to start thinking about points unless we just get total victory. No new research centers in. We've got, the U.S. Large warships are improving. It'd be nice to get this up to 43 and 42. Carrier operations now clicking again, trying to get to 1944. and then nothing to do with these guys. Actually, the anti-tank, which is the headquarters of the Chinese, all the headquarters are anti-tank. They go to 1940 in 43 days. That could be helpful. Yeah, who cares about the Soviets? But the Brits, where are we close? I guess warships were at 69. Okay, convoys, there's nothing to be done here. We're only running American convoys. We're trying to get stuff into Australia. We're trying to get stuff into UK. Now he's sitting right on that line this time. So I do think I will take that off for a turn, and then we'll try to put it back on next turn maybe. We'll mess around with that. All right. You can see the Brits have enough to build another division. U.S. cannot quite build the new fighter bombers. We may have to build something else. Okay. As a matter of fact, I want to look at advancements. U.S. interceptors. They're still at 41. Now, I'm not sure what I would take off is the problem here. Um, I really would like to get some more interceptors. Now, I get it. We're building fighter bombers. They'll be at a 43 soon. Um, yeah, let's just leave it. And we'll come back to the build queue. Uh, okay, we've got these forces down in India. As you can see, it's double raindrops out here. It's only single here. So we could land if we wanted to, but that's not the plan. We're going to come down here and we're going to meet up with our British friends. Um, at least for a turn. Now, we probably don't need to come this far, I don't believe. There's nothing out at Diego Garcia. I think I'm going to hide the Americans right here. Let's count 25 away from Bombay and Madras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's kind of in this area. Let's say here. So it's 16 to Mangalore, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. It's right at 23. Okay. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do that. Let's put these guys on stealth mode. All right. Well, you know what? Actually, no. I'm going to go down here further. I don't want to risk these American troops, and we're not ready to go yet. The Americans have plenty of oil. We can get right back up there. Let's go hide him there. Let's put him into port. Let's put him into port for a turn. Let those guys rebuild a little bit. We're going to put him on a transport. All right, so we've got 3 Brit transports ready to go. That's about all we can do. You can't really do much more than that. We'll do this as a double, and then we'll move it into the port. All right. We'll also then take this other American, and you can start to see the building of our invasion force that's going to go somewhere. You may be shocked by that. It was somewhere, really. Yeah, we're going to take it somewhere. Now, where are the obvious landing spots? Well, Calcutta, Bombay. You can come into Madras, and we could take out, just run over an air unit and then try to run up to Calcutta, and, take this rail line. Now, Madras is a 4. It can only support 80 strength points. Bombay is a 5, so it could do 100. Calcutta is a 7. Now, we know from past, this is large. I think both of these are large. These are both small. That's my remembrance, but we'll do some comment before we head up there. Now, the advantage of a Calcutta, let's say, is that um, it's got Chittagong right here, and you can also get into Chittagong. It's also got an airfield close. It starts, you could try to get up here to Delhi as fast as you can. Now, we may land two or three different places. One nice thing about taking Mangalore is that even if you get stuffed at Bombay, you could get out of the port at Mangalore. You could put things on transports and go straight back to Australia. So sometimes I also like to have a secondary force land in Mangalore. Sometimes I'll land in three different places out here. It just depends. We could also try Rangoon. Rangoon is a four, but then you have Molmine, Tavoy, Chumpton or Chumpon, I think. We also have Kota Baru down here. Now, anything going this way, we're going to have to go all the way around. I think that's actually a good design choice. It doesn't let you come down these, narrow straits. They're supposedly all mined, so you can't do that. You got to go all the way around here. Um, we could try to come into Balikpapan or Sarawak or Kuala Belat or Tarakan or all four. Now, the problem with those, I always find anyway, is it's easy for him to come down from the home islands and interdict these. You're really in his area down here, right? He controls the Philippines. We could try the Philippines, certainly, or we could land out here. I mean, he's already got this port interdicted and there's nothing here. That's how many ships he's got. He's already set up for the interdiction. He's inviting us into Kamran because ultimately he can get to that very easily. So we may think Saigon, we may think Bangkok, but that's for a different time. We've used up all of our British transports now. We've got 50 of 50 on the transports, two small corps and one division. We've only got 40 in landing ships, so we need it. When's the next landing ship come in? Okay, September 5th, next turn. So we'll have 50. That's what you want to see. We've got, enough landing ships and enough transports to take what we need. Then once we use those transports, hopefully we've taken a port, we'll throw that on a transport and that on a transport and off we go. Now we've got American help down here and maybe we'll even get some more. Um, because we have another small core here and you can say, well, do we need to put that in here? Um, I mean, maybe. I mean, he's got a lot of forces down here, but I think for the moment, anyway, we're probably okay here. So I'm going to put the small core through the whirligig towards India, and then we'll start to think about where we want to go next. Okay. I guess Australia's next. I mean, we don't have anything up here other than China, and I always do China last just because China is always a riddle wrapped in a mystery, covered in secret sauce, certainly. So I think it's time to do Australia, but I'm going to think about it for a minute. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, I've looked I've looked this over. Now you probably didn't notice that, but I went offline for about 10 minutes, and we'll splice these two together. But why did I do that? Well, this is kind of a puzzle. We're in pretty good shape, but he's got possibilities here. And part of that is this unit's effectiveness is only 40%. Now, it's an infantry corps large, 30 of 30, 42 assaults, very good unit. But when he got out here, his effectiveness went down. Now, this unit is only a 20 of 20. It's an infantry corps small, that's a problem because he's got a 9 and an 8 here. And eventually, if he can get this surrounded, I don't care how strong this unit is, we're in trouble. Now, what I want to do, I think, if we look at this, we get odds here. Even though he's doubly dug in, we still would get good odds. Now, the problem is that's going to wear this unit down. I think what we could then do is pop him up here and replace him, but we got to make sure we have enough movement points to do that. Either that or bring him down and bring him this way. Yeah, but I want to try to knock this unit back and knock its effectiveness out. Now he's going to use this unit to try to take that hex right there. The first thing I'll probably do though is move over here and try to combine these two, and we do. Okay, good. So we had enough production to do that. Now that's a nice small core, and we can start to think about attacking here. That's 2 to 1. And then once we drive this off, then we could have this surrounded and we can get into his air. But as part of that, we do need to move up here. Uh, the reason I'm pausing is I'm almost tempted to move this up this way. Let's look at the logistics again. It's a 5 there. The reason being is he's going to try to get around here and go after this and this. These two hexes incredibly important. That would still be a 5. All right. Well, let's do our bombing runs first. And I want to bomb units, and let's try to hit this one and do some damage. Now, hopefully we're lowering its effectiveness. We lost 1 in the air. We lost none in the air there. Okay. Who knows if we really knock down his effectiveness there. But now let's try it with this bomber as well. 0 and 0. But again, just trying to knock his effectiveness down as he does to us time after time after time. All right, now this was a 2 or 3-2 attack. It's still a 3-2 attack. Here I thought maybe we could get some joy out of that, but none to be had. Let's try that attack anyway. Wow, nice. Okay, he takes 3 there. Hmm. Now something else we could do is take this really strong unit and move it up here and move something else down. I'm going to move the Marines down this way to begin with. This is probably our second strongest unit on the map. I mean, this one's quite strong as well. He is dug into a single level. Um, yeah, we're going to back him out of there and put this up there and bring the Marines here. So let's go ahead and attack here again. Now it's down to 2-1. Ooh, now see, we can't afford that. But hopefully we've knocked his effectiveness enough down there. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, right now he can only attack us from that hex, right, into Sydney. All right. So let's go ahead then and we'll move the Marines there. We'll move him there. And we'll switch places there. And now we've got our 2 strongest units there. We'll bring the Marines all the way down here. He could go there, but we're not going to do that. And he's going to stay there. If we look at the logistics situation again, I may back him up. Now you may say, well, that's going to allow him to get around here with this unit, but this unit's not that strong. It's a Marine unit, and I think getting better, well, he can then bring that down there, but I think we can maybe do something about that. We could get up here. We could even threaten to start to cut him off there. Uh, you know what? He can bomb again. No, he can't. It takes 3 oil. He can't do anything. He's just going to have to sit here. Now, it's tempting for this unit then to run out here and just take him. He probably will, which gives us turn to do something else, such as this attack, 2-1. All right, he takes 1 damage. Can he still move up there? He can. 2-1. All right, he takes 2 damage that time. He could still get up there. He could also get back around here if we really wanted that, but we can also put the command up here, which is I think what we're going to do as we kind of build this circle out. I would really like to knock him back. Let's try one more time. We get no joy there. He could still get there if I really wanted him to. Because, you know, what I'm worried about again is that he comes around this corner and then starts coming after this hex. That's the hex I'm worried about. Um, that would be 1-1. Down here we've got 1-2. We're obviously not going to do that. We could take this out and try to help up here, certainly, but I don't think that's a particularly great idea. His effectiveness is at 70, his is at 63. Let's undo that. This unit's really quite vulnerable, I'm afraid. He really needs better. So he's going to bring that to that hex, though. That's what worries me. Um, all right, he's going to have to expend some points going after this unit. I don't think, I mean, it's a 30 of 30. It's not going to just shatter. It would retreat back here. Um, all right, let's go after this headquarters again. We took one more loss there, dang it. Okay. Well, his effectiveness should have gone down. I think this is about the best setup we can do here. I do not think we can bomb. Nope, we don't have enough oil to do that. So I think we're just going to set up like this. Now, Sydney is really vulnerable at this very moment. If I did bring him back here, though, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring him back here. It gives him this hex, right? And he can start moving bigger and better assets in here. But what we're going to try to do is break out this way. And if we can start pushing towards Melbourne this way, Sydney becomes a hell of a lot less important. Um, ooh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Certainly. This should get his effectiveness up though, and he's a very strong unit. I don't know that he can get all the way to this hex. I don't think he can. Now he can move there, but we can attack with stronger units. We also have this unit that next turn can move back up here, assuming, and try to take on some of this. We could also peel back with the Australians. Now next turn, we look at the logistics, this is probably going to be a 6 as well. Although down this road, it seems to be maintaining its integrity. It may be a 7. Then we're going to go after this unit. If we can blow this back, we can get moving here and really put his air under pressure. We'll see. It's a cat and mouse game out here, certainly. What else did we have over here? Take the logistics off. Not a whole lot. I say not a whole lot, nothing. At some point, we're going to get the battleships, cruisers, and destroyers out and start interdicting his ports as he did to us. That's coming. Um, Nothing to do there. Not this turn. We could split these guys. I think what I'm going to do here is put through this unit. No, I can't split the Marines. Sorry. Let's put the Marines on a transport and we'll get them going to the Australian way. There we go. Now I'll split him. All right. And we'll take him. Whoops, not the air. Take him to Astoria. We'll put him in Seattle. All right, so that's covered. And then we'll be getting, new ones here coming up. So that's all fine. Um, 3 of 3, 3 of 5. All right, I think that's really it for the other thing we could do is just give up Dutch Harbor and we could put this on a transport. It's up to a 6 of 10. Let's actually do that on priority because we could eventually just use this unit for something. If he wants to take Dutch Harbor, that's fine. It's not a victory location, as you see. It's just not a big deal if we lose that. It does give him some ability to stage an attack on the U.S. West Coast a little bit, but let's not get carried away. It's not that great. Um, All right, I think that's good. For most of these, we probably just can put them on garrison because they're probably not going to move off for any reasonable time. We'll put our big units into Santa Barbara and Morro Bay and ship them out from there. But I'll leave it there for a turn. Let's go to the build queue. The Brits can get another infantry division going. Can they? No, it's oh no. It's 83 or yeah, it's 84 and we have 83. Well, let's do a 1942 and when it comes on, hopefully it upgrades pretty quickly. US, if we look at Air Force interceptors, 300 points for 1941 interceptor. Fighter bombers, 325. Gosh, they're only a 41 and there's nowhere to upgrade from there. Fighter bombers, we did 41s, they're 300, and then it'll upgrade after it's built. I think that's what we're going to do. We'll just do that. All right, you can see the upkeep's going down, so we can just keep building air assets and cores over and over and over again. Soviet Union, nothing really cooking there. China, almost everything's going to upkeep. Australia, again, doing a lot of upkeep there. Oh, Canada, I still want to put that Canadian division on a transport. We'll get there. 65 on the stockpile for the commies. They don't really repair like everything else does. Okay, let's go to China and figure out what we need to do here. If I can ever find it. There we go. All right, so we've already set this up kind of how we want it, sort of. I mean, this is a very weak unit. We got to hope that that rebuilds. I don't the Chinese just or the communists just don't really rebuild like other units do. We are going to fly the Flying Tigers back to Chengdu to make sure they don't die. Now they've got a range of 6, so they can get out here to all these places anyway, so that's fine. What is their they're on 14 of 20. All right, these guys have done a lot of work. I'd love to know how many strength points they've taken from just, holding the line. Now, do we have any attacks here? Opportunity attacks. That's a 3 of 2. That's a 1 and 1, even with that strong unit coming in. 1 of 2. That's 4 to 1 right there. Do I dare weaken this unit, though, is really the question. It's still 2 to 1 if I go straight there. That's 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 2. Now he's just going to replace that unit with another unit if I attack there, although 4 to 1 is pretty enticing. 1 to 2. Nah, I think I'm just going to let everybody sit out here for those purposes. And then we're going to get out of Kunming if we can. Now, how far can I get is the question, of course. He can move up there. This gets him behind a river, so let's do that. Then he's going to come right up here, and we will have supply here in the short term until he takes this over, right? Because we're getting it out of Kunming, and then you can see out of Chungking we're getting some too. So we may be able to get all of these guys out of here, but we're just going to have to give up Kunming and climb through the mountains here and try to get out. This guy, I don't know. I'll just put him in town. He's basically done for, and I think that does it. As I go back to Australia and think about this, it's going to take him movement points to get in there. Then this guy should rebuild, and we should be able to eject most anything out of here. That's a 30 of 30. That's a 30 of 30. Those are 2 U.S. large cores. We can't do much better than that. His effectiveness is down to a 78. Well, I've got him on hold. Let's put him on hold. I think we probably need to have him on hold just in case. This is looking promising. Now, he'll probably go after these Marines, but if we can knock back this headquarters unit and get it out of here, and as you see, we're on a 9 and a 7, so we should rebuild very quickly. Now, I could start trying to run this way and open this up a little bit, because ultimately I don't think he can do a paradrop on Canberra. Um, He's a 23 of 30. He's a 30 of 30. His effectiveness is down because he's only in a 5, right? I mean, that's the main problem there. Um, I'm tempted to push him out and then push him out and then maybe move the American headquarters in here. That's only a 1, though. His effectiveness is really going to start going down. Um, let's get a little aggressive down here. Let's do that. Let's move that Australian unit out. That is a very strong Australian unit. It's a 43 assault. And if you look, we already go 3 to 2 there. And we're going to start pushing towards Melbourne and really, really trying to bottle him up here. If we can get these attacks in there and move this out. And now we've got 3 surrounding here uh, against this force. We can start really messing with his air capabilities out here. So I think we're going to do it that way. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Lord knows I did. Have a good one. Strategy Gaming Dojo out.